As you organize your content for your students in teams, keep in mind your class team is connected to a SharePoint site. This Team SharePoint site offers yet another space for communicating important class information to your students. As well, it can be used to further manage the content of your team throughout the year. There are a few different ways you can access your SharePoint site from your class team. First is from any channel. So you can go ahead and select any channel. And here at the top, to the right of the name of the channel, click on the three dots for the more options. And from the menu, select Open in SharePoint. Now, you can also access your SharePoint site from, again, any channel from the Files tab. When you click on the Files tab, inside you will see in the menu bar the link for Open in SharePoint. I'm going to go ahead and click here to load my SharePoint site. Now, no matter how you access your SharePoint site from Teams, the site will load in a browser window inside the folder that's connected to the channel of your team inside the document library. So, for example, if I go back to Teams, notice that I'm in the Aztecs channel. So when my site loaded, I'm in the Aztecs folder inside my document library. Now let's back up to see the entire contents of the document library. I'll just simply click Documents. Notice the names of the folders. Each channel that I've created in Teams has a matching folder in the document library of my SharePoint site. Now, any files that are shared in the channel in Teams, whether it be in the Conversations tab or the Files tab, will be available in that channel's folder. So again, let's use that Aztecs folder as an example. If I look in the Aztecs folder, I'll see 3 files. And if I go back to my team, inside the Aztecs channel, inside the Files tab, I'll see those same 3 files. Now, I can add files to the channel folders here in my SharePoint site, and those files that I add will be available in the Files tab of the same channel in my team. Let's try adding a file. So here I am in my Aztecs folder in the document library, and I'm going to click on New, and I'll click on Word document. Notice that that Word document launches in Word Online. We'll give this Word document a name, and it automatically saves, and we'll just go back to the SharePoint site, and there's that new document that I created inside the Aztec folder. Now let's check to make sure that that same file was added to the Files tab in Teams. So I'll go back to my team, and I just have to refresh the page, and notice I'm inside my Aztec channel, inside the Files tab, and there's that file that I just now created in my SharePoint site. So again, let's back up to the document library so that we can see all of our folders. And I just want to point out, speaking of adding files, that you can create new folders, Word documents, Excel workbooks, PowerPoint presentations, even new OneNote notebooks. You can also upload files and folders from your device. Now, keep in mind that if I create a folder here in the document library inside my SharePoint site, it does not create a new channel in my team. However, if I create a new channel in my team and gave it the exact same name as the folder that I create in SharePoint, the channel and the folder will be linked. Let me show you. So here in the SharePoint site, I'm going to click New and select Folder. And we'll call this Group 3. I'm going to go back to Teams, and again, notice that I do not have a Group 3 channel, but if I click on the three dots for more options and select Add Channel, we'll give it that exact same name, Group 3, and click Add. This new channel, Group 3, is connected to this folder, Group 3, in my document library. Not convinced? Well, let's add a file to show you. Let's go inside this particular folder. We will click New, add a Word document, go back to our SharePoint site. There's that new file, and let's check our team. So if I click on the Files tab, there's that document that I just created. So this channel and that folder in the SharePoint site are linked. Let's go back to the SharePoint site again, and we'll back up in the document library. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that files added or created in the SharePoint document library must be added to a channel folder in order to be accessible to students in Teams. So what does that mean? Well, if I had a loose document in here, in the document library, my students would not see that document in Teams. However, any files that are stored in the channel folders are visible and can also be edited by students in Teams. Let's talk about file and folder permissions. So something to keep in mind when using Teams is that it's meant to be a collaborative experience. Therefore, all files shared in channels and folders in channel folders can be viewed and potentially edited by members of the team. Now, you can adjust these permissions from the document library of your SharePoint site. Let's try adjusting the permissions of this Aztec mapping assignment. To do so, I'm going to click on the three dots for Show Actions and select Details. That opens the Details pane here in the far right. And just below the preview of the document, I will see a section called Has Access. I'm going to click on Manage Access. I can see all the owners of the team, but if I go right down to the bottom of the list, I find the members of the team. Those are my students. Notice that their permissions are set to Can Edit. We're going to click on the drop-down and change it to View Only. Now, SharePoint will automatically save my changes, so I can just simply close this and click the little I to hide that details pane. And let's test this out. Let's make sure that these changes have taken place. I'm going to check out this particular file in my demo student account. So let's pull up my demo student account. And we made an adjustment to the mapping activity in the Aztec channel. So we'll go to the Aztec channel and click on Files and select the Aztec mapping activity. Now notice that Edit button is still available, but when I click on it, this activity does not open in Word Online. Now, I will point out that one thing that's really handy is that even though it didn't open in Word Online, because my student can't edit it, I still, or the student still, has access to Immersive Reader for support in viewing this activity. All right, let's close this and let's go back to my class SharePoint site. Now, aside from the document library, another area of the site that you could use to enhance communication to your students is the homepage. So let's go to the homepage and check it out. Now, if you're used to working with SharePoint, keep in mind that this page is fully customizable. You can add different web parts. One especially useful web part that comes standard on the home page is this news feed here. Imagine the possibilities. From posting important reminders about assignments and exams to potentially creating weekly agendas for students to view, you can do all of this by creating new news posts. To create a new news post, simply click the Add button here underneath News. Now you have to give your news post a name, so we'll call it Welcome Back. Once I've added a name to my news post or new page, I can go ahead and either customize the page. Notice that I can click on the plus to add a new section, could be broken up into columns, and I can click on this plus here to add different web parts like text boxes, images, links, even embed content. If you're not fully comfortable working with SharePoint quite yet, one web part to become very familiar with very quickly is File Viewer. If you add File Viewer, you can then select a recent file that you've been working on or even upload a file from your computer. This could be an announcement or post that you created as a Word document, a PowerPoint, or even a PDF. I'm going to go ahead and upload a document. Here's my welcome back announcement. I'll just click open and we'll select add file. And that's all I'm going to do to customize this particular post. I'll show you how it looks. So I'll go ahead and save as draft and then publish. And here's that welcome back post in my news feed. Because it's the most recent post, it will also be the largest post. And I or my students can just click on welcome back to launch that page and view the post. Now, keep in mind when you create a news post, you're actually creating a new page in your SharePoint site. So if you or your students ever need to access old posts, you can just simply go to Pages here in the left navigation, and then you can view posts. You, the teacher, can always delete old posts by just simply selecting a post and clicking delete. Now, please note that this Team SharePoint site will be archived at the end of the school year, along with your class team. Though it's easy to move content and copy posts from one team or SharePoint site to another, this site would not be ideal to use as a general class or subject area website, nor is it meant to replace your website that you use year after year. If you're interested in using SharePoint to create a class website, I would highly recommend creating a communication site in SharePoint. You can then choose to add and remove students each school year without affecting your site's content. Though this site would not be connected to a specific team, you could always link to your communication site by adding a tab to it in a channel of your team. We will explore creating class websites in SharePoint in a future on-demand course.